Hello! SimTheWorld here. We are back playing Car Mechanic Simulator 2018. This is the playthrough series, so we have our next customer car. Let's take a look at what the order says. So, hi! I got this old race car so I can go crazy on the racetrack. For safety reasons, the car must be in perfect condition. I believe that you know exactly what needs to be done. And we gotta replace the parts, which, boy, is this a laundry list. I actually went through before we started the video and did the examining tools. That way you guys don't get stuck watching that. And I think we only got half of the parts marked. As you can see already, we have the pistons and rings. So unfortunately, we're going to have to pull the engine out of this car. It's going to be a big project. We also got to replace all the body parts on the car. We got to change the oil, and we got to spray the parts. And of course, in addition to all those parts, we got to do the tires too. So today, it's going to be a fast-paced day. We got a lot of work ahead of us. We got to get this car up and moving. So the easiest thing I want to do is start off with the body. Let's take apart everything, not assemble. Let's disassemble everything. Go through. I wonder if we're going to need a license plate as well. Yeah, trunk is kind of hidden on there too. Hard to grab that. But I think there's no windows that I'm aware of. Got the headlight. I think we're ready to go. Let's get the new body parts on. Alright, assembly mode. And, okay, the door wasn't bad condition, but we'll get new stuff on. I think I picked up everything from the shop, that way we don't have to worry about whether or not we need to replace it. We can repair the old body parts and flip those, so it's not a big deal. We'll get our money back, even if we don't need, you know, it's 79%. Do we need to purchase it again? Probably not. But that's okay. If it means going to the shop once to buy all these parts, then in my mind, that makes me really happy. Get the headlights on. Yeah, I think we do need a new license plate. So we will pick up one of those real quick. And we'll just do the generic one, because that's what the back one shows too. Alright, so license plate. Give me something generic. I'm just going to scroll and click it. Boom, Oklahoma today. Mix and match. Perfect. Okay, so that takes care of that. Let's see. Place and repair, perfect. We'll have to paint that, but I want to get the rest of this done first. Let's drain the oil while I think about it. Well, there's a decent amount. It's not just, didn't run that low. That's always nice to see. He's taking care of the car. Let's get these tires off, because we're going to have to replace these, and I want to see if there's anything else that needs taken care of. I think just the wheel hub here. The brakes look fine. Luckily, we're going to have a lot of engine work today, but the suspension looks pretty good on this car. It's crazy. You wouldn't think that this would be a crazy project to, you know, with a bunch of work to do. All the suspension looks good. The outside of the engine here looks good. We didn't even take a look at this earlier. Yeah, everything, you know, the radiator, you can see that looks bad. For the most part, this car looks in great shape. Oh, you know what? Now that I'm looking pretty close at this brake pad, maybe those do need replaced. Yeah, that one was 14%. Okay, I see what you're doing. You gotta be careful with that. They all look black, so I assumed it was fine, but it was the worn out black, not the lighter black. And I'm sure all four of these need replaced. The solid rear disc here, let's check that. It looks pretty rusty compared to the rest of the car. Fuel pump needs to go. We saw that in the menu. I'm going to run to the shop. We'll pick up these parts. I'll get the tires ready. I'll sit through having to get that all ready to go, so you guys don't have to. I'll be nice to you today. And let's get that drive axle in. Everything's set and ready to go. We'll get the old disc back on. Don't need to replace all these parts. We will... God, I'm deciding whether or not we're going to pull the engine out. So I do have to strip it. That's for sure. But whether or not because it might just be easier just to take everything apart since we got to replace it. I can pull out everything from underneath while we're down here and then lower the car and take care of everything up top. Might save me in the long run. Obviously, that's not how you'd want to do it in real life. You'd want to be smart and take care of everything outside of the car where you have some space. But of course, this is just a game. So, in that spirit, we'll take the liberties where we can. Don't get me wrong, the engine stand was such a huge game changer to 2018. I remember 2015, you didn't have the option of doing that. And it did make things more difficult. Let's see here. Jump back over. So it was a nice addition, but it's sometimes nice just to keep everything in the car. Makes it feel like a bigger project than it necessarily is. Alright, that's all 4 tires. As you can see, I just replaced the rims. I did that without worrying too much. Again, we'll get that money back for it by selling the parts and repairing them to full condition. Alright, so this... Yeah, I suspected as much. All the transmission components need replaced. Oh, except for the clutch plate. Clutch plate is good. Crazy. Alright, so since we drained the oil, I'm going to take the oil pan off. We can get all the rods off the pistons, or the rod caps. And, doing it... Oh, the crankshaft needs replaced. Son of a gun. Yeah, this just got a little bit more difficult. So all the pistons need to come out, which means I will replace all the pistons. I was about to say, since we can see what we need to replace pretty easily here, I was only going to take the ones out that we needed. Obviously, that's not the case. Same with these crankshaft bearing caps. One of those needed replaced, so I'm sure I'm going to remember is on this side, but whether or not the game remembers that is a different question. I'm going to take care of this. I'm going to order those parts, and I will meet you back up top. Alright, so as you can see, I did end up pulling most of this engine apart. I did want to make mention, in addition to everything we had found so far, the camshafts and the cam gears and timing belts needed replaced as well. Other than that, I think we have identified everything. Go ahead and pull the rest of this out. Yeah, we're just doing this in the engine. At this point, it was easier just do it here. I figured I was ripping off all the accessories anyhow. Let me get underneath and we'll pull out that crankshaft and replace it. Let's also double check, make sure we got everything, and I'll also give you guys a parts list, hopefully. So everything looks like it's been identified, or at least the first half here. God, I guess we really are replacing everything in this car. Yeah, we did find everything. Fantastic. Perfect. So, don't have to worry about anything hidden or sneaky going on. Let's go ahead and start putting parts back in this car. I think I've got everything we need. We're going to find out pretty quickly here. We're going to have to do the pistons from up top. That's okay. I will get these in real quick. And we'll go from there. Yeah, I'm just replacing all three. I remember it was this one we needed to replace, but that's not a big deal. We'll just throw it in. Better to have better parts in there and not have to go back and redo everything. We are plowing through the playthrough series. I'll tell you what, I don't remember what order number this is in the series. Especially some of the earlier episodes, we were doing a couple orders, or, you know, I think there's an episode or two where we didn't do an order in the game itself or in the episode. So the episode number doesn't necessarily correlate to the order number in the game. I think there's only like 44, so we are coming up. We're getting through a lot of this. I'm hopeful we'll start to see some of the new info for the 2021 game coming out. But of course, not necessarily guaranteed to see that right away. I know a lot of people have been asking on the video where we look at the teaser trailer whether, you know, what the release date for that will be. I, of course, do not know. I don't think there's been any info mentioned as far as when the new game will release. If I had to guess, though, an educated guess would probably be pretty close to the end of the year, though. I don't think the VR version of Car Mechanics Simulator is out quite yet, and I don't think they're going to want to double down and lose any sales for people going to the 2021 version and not playing VR. So they're going to get the VR version out as quick as possible, then probably turn their attention over to 2021. And to be honest, I almost wouldn't be surprised if that's really late, or if not, gets pushed into 2022. Anything's possible, though, so we'll find out pretty quick as the year goes along. But there will be plenty of new games that we're going to try to feature on the channel. I got plans for Junkyard Simulator, of course, and Motorcycle Mechanic Simulator as soon as that comes out. Both of those games, we've looked at the demos. I've been really impressed, especially with Motorcycle Mechanic Simulator. That's got a lot of the details that I want to see in the new game of Car Mechanic Simulator. So let me know down in the comments, you know, what games are you guys looking forward to? What should we be featuring on the channel as it comes out? You know, I ultimately look for you guys, what you're watching, what you're viewing, as to what we do with the future of the channel. Let's keep going here. God, we got so much work with this engine, but it is going quick. I'm sure it's much quicker than to do in real life. To rebuild an entire engine to take, you know, a 15-minute episode, real life, that would be phenomenal. You'd be the master engineer. You make so much money doing that. But there are so many details in this game that we just don't see, nor would you really want to have in a game. If they were to introduce, like, rusty bolts into this game, I would pull out my hair. Like, it sounds like it'd be a realistic addition to the game, and people might even want to see that. But having, you know, I could just see that getting pretty old pretty quick. Having to break out, like, a torch or, you know, a breaker bar to get those bolts off. These simulator games, I know they ride a tight line of what's going to be fun and what's just going to be overly repetitive and get annoying really quick. And that's why we probably don't see a lot of the realistic stuff in this game as we do. Because you want something to be fun and not just repetitive and annoying. That's why I like this game. There's so many different kinds of parts and so many cars that they've introduced. Because ultimately, these games are just, you know, repeating, taking things off, putting them on. But having these different parts and different views and cars really, really helps with the immersion in that. What do you guys think? Why do you play these games? Or why do you watch the videos? Alright, we're getting close to getting done here. Just gotta put the engine on. Then we'll paint the car and we'll be finishing up this order. So I'm going to finish getting the coils on, get the radiator in, and doing the final touches. I'll meet you over in paint. We'll head into the paint shop here. We got the car already in here. It's ready to go. Now for these orders, you just have to set it to factory. Which white doesn't look too bad. Get that on there. And I think that wraps up this vehicle. Dang, look at that. You see the rust there, though. I think... No, that's not rust, is it? Maybe that's just the weird color on the headlights. The body, obviously, we didn't do the welder on it. So there is some rust on the body overall. And in fact, you know, we're gonna make plenty of money off this guy. Let's go ahead and get that so we get the full satisfaction of finishing this order. There we go. That car looks much better. Yeah, maybe that was the rust from the body condition. So now the car status. Everything is taken care of. The frame's at 100%. Yeah, we're making total payout $62,000. Holy cow. Boy, I'd be taking the rest of the year off after this. Let's get this finished up, and we'll finish up this episode. With that, thanks for watching as I simulate my life one game at a time. If you like this video, please be sure to hit subscribe so you don't miss any of the future action. You can follow on Twitter for updates of future games being played, as well as follow on Twitch as I try to stream 3 days a week. Thanks, and I'll see you next time at SimTheWorld.